My today's presentation is going to be more about how Scrum Masters can contribute to the entire organization rather than teams. And so, the story that I want to share with you today starts at another conference. I was extremely lucky to attend Agile Orlando this year. And when I was there, I met one of the Agile coaches from Spotify. And we got into conversation and we started to talk about the issues and the challenges that the organizations face. And it was really funny to me when I realized that both of our organizations have similar issues and similar challenges. And when we continued the conversation, it turned out that their way of solving and addressing those challenges was very similar to how we address them at Allegro. So my reason to be here today, and this is what I want to give to you, is the way that we solve and address those challenges at Allegro. And I hope that by the end of this presentation, you will be able to take away something specially or specific to your organization in particular. Okay, so what are some of the challenges that I'm talking about here? So challenges like transparency and visibility across the entire organization, knowledge sharing across teams, team alignment. Are any of those familiar to you? Are those some of the challenges that you're facing in your organizations? All right, I mean, yeah, most of them, all of them, some of them. There are many more. These were some of the examples. So before I jump into how we do it, I wanted to tell you a little bit about who we are. So we're a group of 25 Scrum Masters working with 50 teams at the Marketplace division. And this picture was taken at one of our offsites. Every month we do like a one-day offsite where we meet and talk and do all kind of crazy things. So this was one of those crazy things we did. And we went to an elderly house, or house for elderly people, where we renovated the place on the inside. We repainted it on the inside. And it was one of the most team-building experiences I've ever had in my life. And I don't know what kind of offsites you do at your companies, but I would definitely recommend that if you want your team to work together really closely. Anyway, we're a group of people with common interests and common goals, and those interests are mainly other people and teams and team dynamics and processes that go within teams and quality and process improvement and all of that good stuff. And our goals are really closely related to those interests. So our goals are for teams to succeed. And our goals are for the individuals in those teams to succeed. And we want the entire organization to succeed as well. So there we were in that building. And I like this picture. It kind of reminds me of our company a little bit. So I mean, I think it's a good parallel. So you have a Scrum Master here and there, everyone in their own space, everyone doing their own work, but kind of separate. I don't know if you can see that. And I see it as, you know, each Scrum Master working with their team, like being part of an Agile team and working in that particular team in the organization, but not really collaborating together. But then at the same time, you can see that, like Asia on the left here, we're looking kind of from high above, or maybe not really high above, but just above the team a little bit. We're kind of hovering. We have that neutral look of what's going on. And not only one team, but 50 teams. So like cross-organization. And that gives us a view of what sort of challenges and issues might be happening in the organization. And so, you know, we have this team on one hand side, and then we have all of those different issues and challenges. Some of that I mentioned before, and some of that I did not. And then you can add the list of your issues and challenges that are in your organization, because I guess that will be probably a little bit different. And so we decided to form a team in order to address those. And what better way to do it for Scrum Masters than form a Scrum team? So, you know, our Scrum team is a little bit special. We like to call ourselves special because we are 25, so it's a quite large team. All of us are working in different locations. So we have Poznań, we have Toruń, and we have Warsaw, so 3 different locations. Each one of us is working with from 1 to 3 teams, so we already have kind of something to do in the meantime. And yeah, but we decided to adopt Scrum. We are running 2-week sprints. We have all the good stuff that Scrum brings, so all the ceremonies. We have a product owner. Our product owner is our boss at the same time. It's Adam Michalczyk. By the way, how many of you been to Agile Coach Camp 2 weeks ago? Raise your hands. Anyone? I know there have been some people. Yay! Did you guys like it? Okay, I hope you did. This was the first coach camp organized by Adam Michalczyk and friends, and we had a blast at Srebrna Góra, and I definitely invite you to come to another one that will be coming in probably about 6 months. And it's a place to share your knowledge and experiences, much like here, but in a much smaller group. So anyway, for those of you that know Adam, you know that Adam is a person with infinite amount of patience and empathy. And I think it's super important when working with a team like ours, which is a bunch of energetic people with lots of ideas, all of us innovators, like Krzysiek yesterday talking about krówki and all that. So we have these kind of people working all together, and Adam just gives us lots of space for us to fill and kind of, come up with the ideas that we want to do. So anyway, we have the regular Scrum stuff that we do. We have our Scrum Masters backlog, which is basically the product backlog. So the product is our organization. So for us, it's basically, so in this backlog, we basically just take all the organizational needs and challenges and issues that we can come up with, and we've put them into epics, and we make stories out of them. And we have our sprint backlog that we just use for regular work every week. And we use Jira. It helps us to stay organized with those 3 separate locations that we work with. Let me tell you a couple of things about what we actually did. So first thing that I want to mention is MAKATKA. And MAKATKA, for those of you that do not come from Poland, means, or it's a rug that you hang on a wall, and it's supposed to look pretty. So the goal of this was not supposed to look pretty, and the wall that it's hanging, it's actually outside of our high management office. And on the left-hand side, you can see the list of things that was super important to us, like the 6 most important initiatives that the teams were working on. And on the right-hand side, you can see other stuff that the teams were working on. And the little post-its, the pink ones, are the team names. So we wanted our managers to know, and the leaders of our company to know, what is actually going on the team level, and what issues we're solving, and what are we working on right now. And just visualizing this triggered a lot of conversations on different levels, especially for them. Like, I guess it was really important to see if what we're doing now is actually what they want us to be doing. Another thing that we did was this Marketplace goals dashboard. And Marketplace is the department that we work in. All of the Scrum Masters work for the Marketplace department. And this dashboard, and unfortunately you cannot see too much of this dashboard because I just took it and I have to obfuscate the values, but you can see all the goals, all of our goals for this year. Well, actually you can't see them, but please imagine that there are numbers in those colored squares, and these numbers mean where are we right now. And then on the right-hand side to those numbers, there are numbers that say where we want to be at the end of the year. So basically the goal. And there is also this little update information. So when is the last snapshot of that number? And we captured a number of these goals. And when we did, we showed them to the entire organization again. They were visible at screens, or we talked to people about them first, but then we showed them and visualized them everywhere. And this triggered a number of conversations again. People started to ask questions. Where are these goals coming from? Some of these goals were not the goals that we wanted to be doing, yet they were on the list of our goals. So one thing that this accomplished was that we actually changed some of the goals for our organization, just based on visualizing our current state. And then the second thing we did was people that work on this, and some of them are here. Tushku is one of them. We have some great developers on our Scrum Master team. They've been developers before, then now they're Scrum Masters. People that work on this had to ask questions, how are these goals calculated? So they went to people who actually, they went to BI, but they also sometimes skip BI, just went to people directly. And this triggered a number of conversations about how are we calculating the goals. And again, it turned out that some of the goals were not calculated in the way that we wanted to. They were calculated like the environment has changed, and now that number is just not accurate. So it led to changing the way that we calculate goals, or calculate those numbers. Not the goals, but where we actually at that particular goal. And the third thing that happened, and the actual reason why we wanted this to exist, this dashboard, was that we wanted our teams, all of our teams, to somehow align into the goals. We wanted the teams to, when they produce a new product, or when they work on their product, we wanted them to somehow contribute to the goals of the entire organization. So we created this so they know what are our goals, and so they could kind of work their way around or make sure that what they're doing is actually contributing to the organizational goals. Okay, and then at another completely different level, what Krzysiek mentioned yesterday, right? So krówki. And this is building the feedback culture into the organization, or feed-forward culture, if you will. And yeah, also Krzysiek asked me to tell you that he said that there were many questions about krówki yesterday. So he said that they're running in 3 locations, so all of our offices, and more than 110 people at the moment, okay? So this is how many people are actually running krówki at the moment. And so not only, well, Krzysiek mentioned that, about it yesterday, but the thing that I like about this most is the appreciation that you get from someone, and an easy way to actually appreciate someone else. And I just think it's fantastic. We also provided tools, and that's again Tyszku and Mino and some of our talented developers among the Scrum Master team. We also provided tools for all of our Scrum teams, where Antiter is a name of a Scrum team. And then you can see some of the things that we thought would be helpful for that team to know while they're developing their product. So you can see their velocity, you can see the focus factor, you can see how many releases last month they've done, and you can see business value if the team actually calculates business value in a way. So we thought this might be useful for teams, and then all of the teams can just use that. And another thing that we do is we like to meet and talk sometimes. And we really like to meet and talk with our product owners. This is our favorite group to meet and talk with. So we do a lot of workshops, and particularly with product owners, we talk about business value. It's one important thing that we like to talk to them about, because we want to know if we're building the right it. So we want to know how are we going to calculate it, or how are we going to know that we're building the right it. And this is the conversation we're having, probably for half a year now, on and off. So we're actually really engaged and involved in it. But the picture you can see here at the left-hand side, here at the top, it's from the meeting that took place, or the workshop that took place recently. And it was about synchronizing teams with what goals are they doing. And I don't know if it shows here in the picture. I don't know if you can see it, but there are little lines hanging between the posters here. So the posters are the team names and what the teams are doing. And there are little lines, they're connected. So those of them that are connected are working on the same goal. And for some product owners, it was interesting information to know that they're working or contributing to the same goal as other teams in the organization. So now they can talk to each other and talk together. And so we kind of mapped that in that workshop. So that was really neat, I think. And we are a team for about a year now, I think. And we had some lessons learned, and we progress all the time. We started with fixed groups, and fixed groups meant that we took a story and we divided ourselves into fixed groups of 3 to 4 people, and we just always worked in the same groups within the Scrum team. And so that meant that we took a story, and within that group we just worked on it, and after 2 weeks, after the sprint was over, we said, okay, so the story is done or the story is not done, and this is where the communication happened. And we thought that there are some things lacking in that. First of all, we always work with the same people. So we know these people really well, but we want to get to know the other people as well, and what they're doing and how they're working, what they're good at, and all that. And then the other thing was we didn't know what is going on during the sprint. So because we worked in a small group of people and we were close together like this, we only sort of stick our heads out later in the process. So we decided to do chairs instead. And chairs work like this, that you take a story from the backlog and you ask people to sign up for that story if they want to work on it. So in the planning meeting, we would take like the top story from the backlog and we would say, okay, so who wants to work on this story? And then you would have people signing up, putting their names next to the story. And what this gave us, I mean, there are a few benefits. First of all, if no one wants to work on the story, it means that the story sucks. And maybe there are reasons we don't want to do it, or there are better stories that we want to work on. And I mean, it's a signal for the product owner that you know, maybe the story is not so important. If it is important, he will tell us, and we will work on it. I mean, it's natural, but it's kind of a natural way of validating if the story is cool. And then second thing is that we always form a different team. So we work with different people. We are able to know what people, how are they like, and you know, what are their strengths and weaknesses and all that. And then thirdly, we like to work with proof of concept. And much like Krzysiek explained yesterday, when we introduce a new idea, it's a lot like asking people who would like to participate in this proof of concept, asking teams, asking other Scrum Masters. And then we run it for one team and, you know, second team, a third team, and so forth. And after we, you know, we think we've run it with enough teams, then we stop, we see what are our lessons learned, and we see if we want to continue and enroll it to further teams or more teams. Or actually we see if people want it or not. We did the same with value stream mapping, by the way. And so I hope that by now you can see some of the benefits that we're doing, or that our work brings. And definitely one of the biggest benefits for us is that people ask questions, and people question the status quo a little bit because of that. And then people talk to each other, and that leads to good outcomes, in our opinion. So you always want to have that, and I think this is one of the things that we help to bring in the organization. Second thing is that people make their environments a better place, thanks to things that, like Krzysiek, like the example of Krzysiek's work and what he's done with Krówki. And thirdly, teams have tools that they can use. I mean, they can choose to use it or not, but there is something out of the box for people to have. Okay, so we did all this, and I think there are really important things that happened during that time. And one of those things is that, you know, when we work as part of this team, we take our Scrum Master hats off and we put the developers' hats on. And that's a completely different story, because when we're Scrum Masters, we're neutral, we're kind of looking from the balcony, we're kind of supposed to help the team, you know, make the best decision, best choice, progress, and so forth. When we're developers, we get emotional. We want our idea to be the better idea or whatever. We just want to work like it's like working in a completely different environment, and we can live and experience firsthand the team dynamics that are involved in working in a team. And I think it's a fantastic lessons learned for us and a takeaway from this, because when we go back to the team, we observe this behavior and we're like, okay, we understand what is going on. We've actually lived this. And some of us been developers on Scrum teams before, and then, you know, we might have forget about it or not, but it's a nice refresher. And some of us never been developers on Scrum team before. And it's a really nice way for us to experience that and live those feelings. Another great thing is that we unite as a team. So remember when I showed you all of us were painting in the room, sort of kind of in a different, everyone in a different location or a different place. This is like all of us working together at that time. And actually for the Scrum meetings that we run on one day, so we run review, retro, and planning on the same day, and we all come to Poznań for this. So we all actually are in the same physical location. We unite, and thanks to working with each other for this 1 year, we now know who is good at what. We know who to ask if we need help. We know what is going on in other teams. We know what's going on with other Scrum Masters and how they work, and what is their way and technique of working with teams, and we can exchange this knowledge easily. And I think most importantly of all, we learn all the time. So what I would like to leave with you today and conclude this presentation finally is, I would like to ask you to ask yourself this one question. And whenever you're back at your environment, at your organization, home, or whatever is convenient and good place for you to ask this question, how could work of a team like this influence your organization in the long term? Thank you very much.